I like
Can
it.
I bring up a topic?
Yeah, go
Can I
ahead.
bring up a topic?
Go ahead.
So I got an email. I got an email from a listener. So the Formula One race on Sunday, I'm a huge Lewis Hamilton fan. He lost the championship to Max Verstappen, and it's all because of a Canadian crashing. And then there was a red flag, and it bunched the cars together, and Max Verstappen ended up winning the race and winning the championship. And so I knew this, but again, another reason why Canadians should not be allowed to drive. So even in Formula One, they cause massive problems. And so, I want to thank the listener for bringing that to my attention, even though I already knew it. But again, I just wanted to bring it to everyone else. Latifi, who's a Canadian driver, crashes. Lewis Hamilton loses the championship. He's Canadian. His fault.
So
there you go. I'm done now. Sorry. That's it.
That riveting update on Formula One was brought to you by Galen Unall, and him and only one listener could give a damn. So.
Well, that's right. Well, I mean, it goes back. Again, I mean, when I go and I'm governor, well, I really just want to be in charge of certain things. I don't really want to run for election.
Right.
Seems like a lot of hard work. But I have some really good ideas, and when DeSantis calls me and makes me czar of traffic, it's the first thing that happens. Right? I mean, it's very, very clear.
Very
clear. Right now, with DeSantis' approval rating, he could probably get away with it. And the Canadians are still going to come here.
You're kind of you got a prejudice against Canadians. Let's be honest.
No. I think Canadians are fantastic people. I just don't think they should be allowed to drive.
Wow, that's they have roads in Canada.
Prejudice.
They have roads in Canada, right?
They have public transportation.
Well, I've only been to Canada twice. 3 times because I went to Windsor too. Sometimes you forget Windsor's not a subdivision of Detroit, so sometimes you forget that.
Been to Ontario and Quebec.
I've been to Montreal, Toronto, and Windsor. Montreal and Toronto to see baseball games. Windsor to play poker.
Well, there you go. There you
go. Speaking of people who obviously skirt the law. There's a story out of There's a story out of the Villages.
I read this.
3 Villages residents have been arrested. They face charges of casting more than one vote during the 2020 election. Joan Halstead, Jay Keddick, and John Ryder all face felony charges of casting more than one ballot in an election. What they did, they voted in Florida, and they're snowbirds. They voted their home state too. I think this story that broke, only 3 people. I think there's a hell of a lot more than 3 people that did this.
Well, and again, I think DeSantis, he put together that task force, and this is the first of many, I think, that are coming. And this is exactly what they were looking for. And again, I don't care who he voted for. I think in the first paragraph, the article I read.
They're 2 of them are Republicans and one of them is an independent.
Right.
2 of them are Republicans, right. One's independent.
They put that in the first paragraph. I don't care. I don't care if they voted for the Green Party twice. I don't care. You can't do that. And this is what we're talking about with election integrity. If we don't, it's a faith-based system. And if we lose faith in the system, it will fail, right? And these are the kinds of issues that people point to and say, this is why I don't vote, right? So we got to clean it up, and we have to enforce the laws that are on the books. Because the law is useless if there's no authority behind it.
They voted in Michigan.
And I'm glad DeSantis is doing that.
They voted in Michigan, New York, and Connecticut, where the 3 votes were cast. But I think, like you said, with this task force, there's going to be a lot more of these cases. We're going to hear a lot more of this where people voted. And I agree with you 100%. Absolutely. I don't care what your party affiliation is. I don't care who you voted for. You messed with the integrity of the election by voting twice. I don't care if you thought you were doing it right because the other side was going to cheat or whatever. My mom told me a long time ago, what's the adage? 2 wrongs do not make a right. And so I have no problem with the full extent of justice being thrown at these people.
Yeah, and I saw one of the people already had pleaded not guilty, and I'm like, okay, it's easily proven.
Yeah.
Right?
If there's an absentee ballot in your home state and you voted in Florida, guilty.
Correct. Unless you can prove that you didn't cast one of those votes, that somehow your absentee ballot was stolen.
You got to sign the absentee ballot.
That's correct. All they have to do is compare signatures. And you have to sign when you pick up your ballot in Florida. And, by the way, you have to show a driver's license.
I think it should be, I personally think it should be a federal law. And I know I don't like the federal government being overreaching, No, but I personally think it should be a federal law that you could be prosecuted for federal violations if you're registered to vote in 2 different states.
Well, it could be, you could be registered to be vote in 2 states, you just can't vote in both states.
You shouldn't be allowed to be registered in 2 states.
Well, the way the system works, the states don't know where you're, in other words, they're not interconnected.
You're right.
So that's
I know
the
that.
issue. Yeah. And that's why, now, if you want to change that, I'd love to listen to it. But right now, that's part of the problem. And it can only, to me, it would be a federal offense if you voted in a federal election.
Right. No, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The federal election. Right.
So only the president. If he did that, I agree with you. But if they just voted for a governor in Wisconsin,
you could vote for Marco Rubio in Florida, and then whoever's your Senate representative in Michigan. So it's not just president; it's any national election.
But that's not a federal election; it's a state election.
But you're electing you're electing federal officials.
No. But just hear me out. You're not. You're voting because Mark Rubio represents
the state of Florida.
The state of Florida and the state of Florida only. So, in my case, you would only prosecute on the federal level if you voted for the president, because that's the only federal position that we vote for is president and vice president.
I don't know.
And you don't really vote for vice president, right? He's just not the same.
On the ticket. They're on the ticket. I'm just glad. Yeah. I'm just glad that people are being arrested for fraud, and I don't care what party they're in.
Agreed.
Doesn't bother me what party they're in.
Yeah, he can get up to I think it's 9 months in jail.
And,
And again, let's.
But it's a felony conviction too. That's the other thing. It's a felony conviction.
He won't be able to vote.
Nope, won't ever be able to vote again until he gets his rights back. Until they get their rights back.
And I hate the term. You've got to make an example of them, because I think that if you're making an example of someone, that means you're putting the law unfairly due. Right? That is wrong. That's not the purpose of the law, is to set an example. Right? The law should be fair. The punishment.
The law is punitive. It's not there to set an example. It's there to have a punitive result for the action that you committed. It's not there to say this will show everybody else so they won't do it. That's not what the law is there for.
That said, there are some times when you don't prosecute, it can lead to, they don't care, I can get away with it. Thus looting, shoplifting that we're seeing all across the country. If this guy's not prosecuted and given a sentence, then other people are like,
we can do that too.
I guess I can do it.
Sure. We got to take a break.
And then it goes back to election and my lack of trust in it. There you go.
We got to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about a city who is tired of the looting, and their mayor says things have to change. You'll be surprised, the city, because it's a change in maneuvering. We'll talk about that next. You're listening to Ocala Talks on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM. This is WOCA, The Source.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
Are you wasting time boxing up packages and going to the post office or the UPS store? Are you tired of not knowing what you'll pay when you get there? Just Ship offers pickup service and flat rate packaging and postage rates, which takes the guesswork out of shipping while saving you time and money. So quit wasting valuable time and money. Call or text Just Ship at 352-234-3840. That's 352-234-3840. Just Shipped.
Are you or your loved one being released from a hospital and wondering how you'll manage? Inform your physician that you want to go to Palm Garden of Ocala at 2700 Southwest 34th Street for your rehabilitation. Palm Garden provides pain management, post-discharge follow-up, diabetic care, psychosocial support, and so much more. Plus, they even offer outpatient rehab. This award-winning care facility has a team of licensed professionals dedicated to enhancing your independence. Call 352-854-6262 today.
Now you've done it. Have you lost your mind? He's back. And you're listening again. A legend in his own mind. Don't believe me? Just ask him. Here's Tom Schmitz live on WOCA. The Source.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks on a Wednesday. Galen Enoff from Life South joins us thanks to good folks at Penn Flooring, Palm Garden Health and Rehabilitation Center, and JustShip.net. Galen, there's been a movement over the last 2 years towards making police departments more friendly or more soft, or, defunding them to bring in social workers and to maybe de-escalate situations by talking through your issues. And San Francisco was one of the cities that led this charge. Well, the mayor of San Francisco yesterday in a press conference said, enough. We tried this approach. It just led to mass looting, flash mob looting. We need to get aggressive with our policing again. We need to get more police on the streets, and we need to become aggressive with the criminals. Okay, you brought this on yourself. Why the hell should I care what you think now? Am I just being cynical?
Well, and I know you've been to San Francisco. San Francisco is one of the most beautiful cities this country has. It's not a great city now, but it is gorgeous. But you again, in order to have a great city, you have to feel like you can go out. Right, you have to have trust in your fellow man, and right now there's no trust in your fellow man. I mean, look at all the shops that are closing and CVS's that are shutting down because of the looting, and you can't do anything about it. And it's making the whole city look like they're all a bunch of, we don't care, do whatever you want, and that's not the case. It's a very small population, but Tom, if you can go in and you can steal a few $1,000s worth of cosmetics, and then you can go sell that, right down the street, and there's no recourse. Why wouldn't you do that?
Thousands of items are being sold on eBay and Amazon. They're trying to pull them down when they find out they're stolen. But people are going in and looting these stores in Northern California, Oregon, and Washington, taking the merchandise and then reselling it as eBay sellers on the internet.
Yeah, but how are you going to stop it?
I don't know how you stop it, but it's the classic line from Goodfellas. What was the line in Goodfellas?
Sure.
What? Nobody cared. Now you had Paulie as a business partner in the restaurant, and Paulie would run up the credit on the place bill. Nobody cared because you pay $200 for it coming in the front door. You sell it out the back for $100, but it was pure profit because nobody was going to pay the bill anyway. Well, that's what's happening with these looters. It's pure profit for them.
Yeah, it really is, and I'm glad. I mean, it's the next thing they really need to tackle is these tent cities. The tent cities are a real risk to everyone there. And again, I do not know the solution for homelessness. I've never seen a single approach that's going to work. But when you allow it like that, I think it just makes it easier for people to live in a tent.
People forget that the downtown Portland area is still under siege. It's still in control. It's still in control of the Antifa types. The city of Portland is not being run by the people of by the government of Portland. The downtown area is still in control. Those city blocks have not been given up by those kids.
No, and what's worse is all those people are just working from home and they don't care, right? They don't. But it's the property value of those businesses, and you know, I mean, you're a business owner. You know how much rent costs for those businesses and what the taxes are.
You're paying square footage and you're not getting to use it.
No, and so I think that's going to change. I mean, you look at New York. I haven't been to New York since '95, I think. But when I was there, it's just a phenomenal city, and you know that's because it was everywhere you looked, you felt safe, and New York is still a safe city, but if they continue to make these policies, then it won't be.
Yeah.
And the same is true for like downtown Atlanta. When you go to downtown Atlanta, there is literally a police officer on nearly every corner.
100% there is.
And
there's two or three cruisers. And there's 2 or 3 cruisers cruising up Peachtree and up West Peachtree and down Piedmont.
Yep.
That, you know, not only are the cops walking around, but they're cruisers driving up and down the streets. I have no problem. People say, do you feel safe in downtown Atlanta? 100% I feel safe.
Absolutely. And again, I think that's why Atlanta is booming. You know, if you're, you know, my son is, he's a junior in college, and one of the things he's considering is where he wants to live after college. And because of his degree, he's going to have a lot of options.
Well, dissuade him from Atlanta. Dissuade him from Atlanta.
No, he's been to Atlanta enough. We've got family in Atlanta. I don't think he wants to go to Atlanta. You know where he's looking at? He wants to go to Texas because he's a chemical engineer and wants to get in the fuel industry.
Halliburton.
Yeah, Austin. He's like, Dad, Austin looks like a great city. I'm like, man, at your age it is.
Oh, Austin.
At your age
Austin,
it is.
for anybody under the age of 30, Austin is a rock and roll town.
I said, man, I don't know if you can afford to buy anything there, but it's an incredible city, and then I'll have a place to stay when I go to the Formula One race.
Well, every place, you know, if you're under the age of 30, just pick towns like Columbia, South Carolina. Great place to live if you're under the age of 30. Athens, Georgia. Athens, Georgia. Great place to live if you're under the age of 30.
No, it's a college town. You want to get out of it. I mean, so is Austin, but yeah.
Austin. UT runs Austin. The state capital does not.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Now you want a good town. You want a good town. But see, he's going to be a chemical engineer. I mean, 2 good towns, Nashville and Charlotte, both of them towns that big business run. But Nashville's the music industry and Charlotte's the banking industry.
No, you're absolutely
But 2
right.
great towns.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't know if I want to go to the Midwest or, you know, do I want to go to the West Coast? And I'm like, yeah, man, go. Again, you're young once. I said, there's
don't be like George. Don't be like George Bailey. Don't get stuck at the building and loan.
No,
don't get stuck at the hometown building and loan. Get out.
That's right. So, and my youngest is like, yeah, he goes, there's no way in the world I'm living in Ocala. I'm like, good.
No, you know what I find though? You know what I find? And working in this business, as you know, I've had a lot of kids, 18, 19, 20 years old, that have done internships with us through the radio program and everything. And the one constant is, man, as soon as I can, I'm out of Ocala. Man, as soon as I can, I'm out of Ocala. You know, most of the kids when I first started in this industry are in their 30s now, their early 30s. A lot of them, you know what they're doing? They're coming back to Ocala. They've went and they've saw the world and realized my hometown really wasn't as bad as I thought it was when I was 20.
Yeah. You're allowed to come back.
Yeah, of course you are.
I tell my
But can you be considered the hometown girl or boy if you come back when you spent a lot of your life out of this town, even though you were born here? Ooh, that was a question asked in the last election, wasn't it? Ooh, who was the hometown person? Oh.
I didn't come back until I was in my mid-30s. So.
I didn't come at all. I didn't come back here except on vacation when I was a little kid. I didn't come back here till 2005, 2006, something like that. I hadn't been here but 15, 16 years. But I was in Hawthorne before that, so I did all my shopping and everything in Ocala because I hate Gainesville. Let's be honest. A town that you don't want to go to, Gainesville.
I do too.
You better be quiet. I know where you're at right now. You better not say that.
No, everybody here knows how I feel about Gainesville.
Yeah, Gainesville's just an ugly spot on the map to me. And that's so different from the way I was when I came here in 1998 and was looking for property with Hill Johnson to put the Mellow Mushroom in Gainesville. I was all gung-ho.
Oh, yeah.
Gainesville.
Sure.
Finally, I get to the University of Florida. I got my Gators right there. Disney World's an hour and a half away. I am in a perfect place. And then I lived there for a while. It's kind of like snow. When I moved to Boone, North Carolina, I thought snow was going to be the greatest thing in the world. And snow is. Off on the mountain, side of the mountain on the field where you can see it out there, the nice white fluffy stuff that they put on postcards, but that's not really snow. It is snow. It falls like snow, but that's not really snow. Snow is slimy. It's gray. It's got salt in it. It rusts your car away. It's wet. Snow's horrible. But, boy, when you first move to the mountains, you think snow's this great thing. Well, that's Gainesville. When you first move to Gainesville and you've never lived there before and everything, and you're gung-ho for the Gators and you get closer to Disney World and everything, and you're like, it's not going to be cold like it is in South Georgia. You go, I have arrived at the perfect spot. And then you realize you didn't.
What happens is you get your tax bill.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh. What?
Yeah. The one good thing I can say when I relocated out to my parents' fishing property that I turned into the lake property, the one thing I liked about that, and I got lucky, I didn't even think about it till I moved to Gainesville with taxes. It was in Putnam County side of Hawthorne, so the taxes were much less than they were in Alachua.
They paid you to stay there.
To stay in Putnam County. Hey. You're not very far off from the truth, my sir. You are not very far off from the truth. They try to pay you to keep you in Putnam County so they can say you're a resident.
The worst thing about Gainesville, if you're from Ocala, you cannot win a sporting event here unless you're completely way ahead because the officials will do everything.
Well, there you go. We got to take a break. We'll be back more with Galen Udall after this timeout on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM. This is WOCA, The Source.
Broadcasting from the Ocala International Airport, this is WOCA AM, W242CA FM, Ocala, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
USA Radio News with Lance Pry.
As smash and grab criminals have been enjoying their lifestyle without many repercussions throughout many large cities in America, the Defund the Police movement started by Democrat leaders has had an adverse effect on society. Now, the mayor of San Francisco, California, has had enough. The Honorable London Breed.
It's time that the reign of criminals who are destroying our city, it is time for it to come to an end. And it comes to an end when we take the steps to be more aggressive with law enforcement, more aggressive with the changes in our policies. And let's talk